to Escape the Indoors. My name is Josh. So the other day I was packing for a trip and I noticed that some items I've had way longer than other items. Like many of us, for me about like 5 years ago, I decided that one day my wife and I were going to go on a backpacking trip. And so I did what lots of us do. I went on Amazon and I bought the cheapest gear I could find that I thought would work. I also thought that camping in a hammock sounded really cool. So I purchased those 2 hammocks and then we went to the Adirondacks in May with no sleeping pad and no underquilts. So needless to say, it was freaking freezing. After that trip, of course, is when I started actually researching gear and figuring out what I needed to go out backpacking. And I eventually ended up repurchasing everything. So fast forward 5 years later, when I was packing for that trip the other day, I was just curious of what gear I still use after that first initial replacement and how long I've been using it and how much it cost and what were the original items that I purchased that these items replaced. So this is all gear that is over 2 years old. The oldest is 4.5 years and the most recent gear purchase is 2.5 years. But these items I've been extremely happy with and I don't actually see myself replacing them unless they finally break. I love gear and I love testing gear, so I thought it was going to be more difficult finding these items. But I've actually got like 10 items that I've just never replaced. There are a few caveats to some of the items which I'll go through, but I'm going to start with the newest item, which I purchased 2.5 years ago and have used on every single hike since then, and that is the Hexofficio Give and Go boxers. I purchased these because of all the hype I was hearing about them at the time, and I purchased one pair and that is this pair. So I've used this on the long trail, I've used this on many other multi-day through hikes, overnighters, and just this one pair, and this is all I bring. Before the Hexofficios, I was using a pair of compression shorts by Under Armour. About the same price. This just has more airflow and it got rid of any chafing that I was having, so A+ on the Hexofficios. The next item I purchased in December of 2017, and that is the Petzl Acticore headlamp. There are lighter headlamps out there, specifically the night cores. I like this thing and it hasn't failed on me. I like that it's got a removable chargeable battery and you can also put AAA batteries in it. However, this did cost 70 bucks. I think I got it on sale for 60. So if I was in the market, I would probably go for the night core, but I haven't wanted to swap this out at all. So I do enjoy it, and it did replace a $13 headlamp from Trailblazer, which I either got on Amazon or Walmart. The next item I actually didn't buy, I made, and that is the Fancy Feast alcohol stove. So you can make this thing really cheap, or you can buy one online for $25. This cost me $12 because I bought the carbon felt that is used as a wick. So this thing's amazing because you don't have to prime it, you just pour the alcohol in. It's really efficient and it's got a pot stand right there. So I just use a really lightweight windscreen with it and I dig it. So I will use this on most overnights and like 2 to 3 day trips, just because using denatured alcohol is much more economical than using canisters all the time. You just refill the alcohol bottle, you know how much you have, and you don't have to deal with 3/4 empty canisters. So there is a small caveat to this. For longer hikes that I'm going to be hiking like 20 miles a day, and I get into camp and just want to eat, I will take the BRS canister stove, which is also one of my favorite items. I've been using this for a couple years. Yeah, it's just so tiny. But if you're doing a long distance hike, the canister is more efficient and faster. So 75% of my trips I use this, and then long distance I'll use a canister stove. And before this, I was using a canister stove by E-Tech City. It's the orange one with a piezo lighter on the side. It was like 10 bucks. It was definitely heavier and bulkier than both of these. Okay, the fourth item was also in April of 2017, and that is the Deuce of Spades. So a trowel is something that's not super exciting to me. If you're someone like Tim Watson, you're probably gonna go through a lot of trowels, but this digs a hole, it's super lightweight, the handle's a little uncomfortable, so I wrapped it in gaff tape, which also I used to repair gear with. I purchased this for 20 bucks and it replaced a $5 folding steel trowel. that I got from Amazon. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this video, please hit that like button. It's the best way to let YouTube know that other people might also like the video, so it really helps out the channel. And if you want to see more videos like this, definitely subscribe. The next two items go together. I bought them in December of 2016, and that is the Toaks Titanium 750 milliliter pot and the Toaks Titanium long-handled spork with a polished bowl. These have been perfect. I mean, it's a pot, it's lightweight, it works, it boils water. Occasionally, when I feel like I'm in a bushcraft mood, I wish I did get the one with the bail handle so I can hang it on a branch, but this thing's perfect. It's got handles so I can use it like a mug. It holds a little bit more than 2 cups, and yeah, it just works. I can put a small canister inside, I can put my windscreen inside, and my canister stove, and my alcohol stove, and I don't feel the need to ever replace it unless it gets bent out of shape or I lose it. This of course cost me $34, and before this I used a generic camping pot which had a bowl and a pot together from Amazon that costs, I believe, $15. So much more expensive, but I don't think I'll ever not use this. So I ended up getting this spoon because at first I used a Go Bites combo fork and spoon, which was really short, so getting into backpacking meals like Mountain House was kind of a pain, and my hand got dirty, so I ended up going for the long handle titanium one, which I absolutely love. Use it all seasons. I don't have any problems with it getting cold in the winter or anything, but I can get into all the backpacking meals, all the north sides, no problem. The spork part of it works amazingly well. This cost me $11.95. Okay, this next item is kind of special for me because it was my first custom piece of gear, and that is the Dream Hammock Sparrow. There's a caveat to this because I don't use this all the time. However, I still use it. It's still in amazing shape. Now that I have the Cloud Hammock from Dutchwear, this might see less use in the winter. However, I still find this the most comfortable hammock. It's just, I got it in 1.6, so it is pretty heavy, but I'm never gonna get rid of this because just the quality is amazing. And the other caveat to that is, since I don't use this all year, I use the Dream Hammock Sparrow for the summer. I got this in 1.3 or 1.2. This is just like half the weight. Now, of course, a custom hammock from Dream Hammock is going to cost a lot more than a hammock from Amazon. I started out with a Go Roam camping hammock, which I got for $54, and the Sparrow cost me $263. So obviously a huge price difference, but again, quality gear that I don't actually want to ever replace. The next item is definitely one that my wallet was sad about when I first purchased it, but man, it's just amazing and I've gotten so much use out of it, and that is the Hammock Gear Carbon Fiber Tarp with doors. This is definitely one of my favorite pieces of gear. I absolutely love this thing. I have no desire to get a different tarp. If I were to get one, it would probably be the Hammock Gear Palace Tarp, or just a carbon fiber tarp that is a little bit wider. But I've never gotten wet from this, and most of the time it's plenty of coverage. At the time when I first purchased a tarp, there wasn't much on Amazon in terms of hammock camping, so I purchased a $39 UST tube tarp, which was actually kind of cool, but pretty heavy and not nearly enough coverage. This thing cost me $277, which is why I cried at first, because it's like a trash bag. Bought it in November of 2016, so I've used this on every trip since then, and yeah, still going strong. The next item is another custom piece with some caveats, and that is the Hammock Gear 20-degree premium quilts. So I still use these. They're still perfect condition. My first set of hammock quilts, I purchased those also in November of 2016 along with the tarp, so it was a really sad day for the wallet. But again, I'm still using them today, and the caveat is obviously I don't use them in every season, so I ended up buying a 40-degree set, a 0-degree set, and another 30-degree quarter length on their quilt. But they're all hammock gear, is I guess my point. When I first got the 20-degree underquilts, I immediately brought them to the White Mountains and did an overnight, and it got down to 0. I might have been a little cold, but I was definitely not in danger and still pretty comfortable. So 0 degrees with 20-degree quilts, not bad. And ever since then, I went with Hammock Gear. Their customer service is incredible. I would love to try other quilts, but again, I kind of stick with what I know works and what I'll be happy with. So that's why I've always went with Hammock Gear. For a 20-degree top quilt and full-length underquilt, it cost me $437. And those replaced a $41 Susie Sport, super heavy, but not warm at all, sleeping bag from Amazon. So the last item is actually the oldest item in the list, and I have never replaced it, so I thought that was pretty cool, and that is the Hiker Hunger trekking poles. So the caveat with these is that they're not the original trekking poles I purchased. They actually came out with a second version, so I replaced the old ones. The second version has just a better flip-lock system than the first generation. They packed down really small for a telescoping trekking pole, smaller than the Cascade Mountain Gear. So this is the Cascade Mountain Gear trekking pole that you can get from BJ's. They all kind of look the same. They're all made in the same factory, but you can tell that these packed down just a little bit shorter. So these are $70, well in the range of a first-time trekking pole. Now, I've obviously purchased these a couple times. I also wish they had replaceable tips. That would help a lot, but the service is really good. The company's based in Massachusetts. Obviously the trekking pole is made in China, like every trekking pole. These actually weigh like 8 ounces, I think, per pole. So they are on par with the expensive Lucky and Black Diamond trekking poles, and these cost $70. So not a bad first purchase with very little research. Well guys, that's it. That's all the items I've been using for a long time, multiple years, and that I haven't replaced or want to replace. So just in case you're wondering, all the initial gear I bought from Amazon cost me $203, which I replaced within a few months. The expensive gear cost me $1,210 altogether over multiple months. So do I think it's worth buying cheap gear at first? Well, I kind of do, because if I didn't buy all that gear, I wouldn't know exactly what was good, what I wanted, what I needed. That only put me back $200, which is a lot of money, but in the scheme of things, it's actually kind of worth it because it got me really into researching gear and figuring out what I needed. And most of the gear I've never replaced. So I hope some of you found this information useful. I definitely recommend all the gear in this video. Gear is such a personal thing though that what might be the best item for me is not for you. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button, consider subscribing, and I hope you guys find time to get outside and escape the indoors. Thanks!